Well, you may have heard the period between Memorial Day and Labor Day referred to as the 100 deadliest days for teenage drivers.
Tonight, 10 News reporter Marc Sallinger verifies if Tennessee and the rest of the country really does see an uptick in teenage fatalities during the summer.
An average of 10 teen drivers die each day in the period between Memorial Day and Labor Day. That's a 14% increase from the rest of the year. And when it gets dark out, the number of nighttime crashes increases by 22%.
Students are out of school, they have a little bit more free time, they're spending it out on the roads.
To verify if the numbers bear out in Tennessee, we spoke with Stephanie Milani at AAA and Brad Mangan at the Drive for Life Academy.
They call it the 100 deadliest days of summer with good reason.
Mangan teaches more than 1,000 students every year at the driving school. He says Tennessee, unfortunately, does see an uptick in teen driving deaths in the summer months.
Kids are driving more, and sadly, they're having more crashes at this time of year.
AAA says more than 1,050 people died in crashes involving teen drivers in 2016 between Memorial Day and Labor Day. Speed, nighttime driving, and distracted driving are all top causes of fatal crashes for teens.
Teens are guilty of speeding just like the rest of us, but it's particularly dangerous for them because they don't have the experience.
I think that my main problem in driving is definitely paying attention to my surroundings.
At Drive for Life Academy, the dangers of stepping behind the wheel and the 100 deadliest days are repeated over and over.
It's scared me a little bit, but like in a good way, so that I will drive safer.
As students in East Tennessee step out of the classroom and take a seat behind the wheel, we can verify, based on data from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, that teen driving deaths increase in the state as they do around the country. Marc Sallinger, WBIR 10 News.
If there is a question you would like us to verify, please let us know. You can share those questions with us on Facebook or Twitter and also email them to us at verify@wbir.com.